Nigeria hasn't always justified the faith of its people, but there comes a time when you are pushed to the wall and there's nowhere to go but up.
If we just decide in our hearts that we want to believe in Nigeria and we want to take steps every day to make this country a better place.
This is our dream, and a new Nigeria is that dream that we so much seek and desire.
The destiny of Nigeria is in our hands. We are the country. The country is us.
We are Nigeria.
We are that turning point generation. We are Nigeria. We are the future.
We are the future. We are the dream. We are the nation. We are part of this. Yes, we are so amazing. That's the least we shall be. At the heart of the nation, changing history. How can they say that we are finished? We have just begun. When we have nowhere else to run to, we have nowhere else to go. So get out of the way of the land of our dreams. We are the nation, we are part of this. Oh, oh. We are the nation, we are part of this. Whoa, carry the song, carry the sound. The future is here. The future is here. Goodbye yesterday, tomorrow is now for the taking. The future is here. The future is here. I am the future. I am the future. I am the dream. Whoa, I am the nation. I am part of this. Yes, I am so amazing. That's the least I shall be. The least I shall be. At the heart of the nation, changing history. How can they say that we are finished? We have just begun. When we have nowhere else to run. Nowhere else to run. Nowhere else to go. Nowhere else to go. So hey, out of the land of my dreams. Oh, I am the nation. I am part of this. So get out of the way of the land of my dreams. I am the nation, I am part of this. Whoa, carry the song, carry the sound. The future is here. The future is here. Goodbye yesterday, tomorrow is now for the taking. The future is here. The future is here. Raise your hands in the air if you believe the future has come now. The future is here. The future is here. This is our country. The future is here. The future has come.
The future is not a time zone that is yet to come. The future is everything that we can be but have not yet become. The future is everything that we can do but have not yet done. The future is here. The future is now. So go ahead and deliver the future because you can, because you must. Together we will.
Nigeria has...
Nope. Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening. I'm so excited to have this number of people already online tonight. My name is Irene Bangwell, and this is Raising Girls Weekly. Tonight is Family Debate Night. In the meantime, I want to know where you're joining us from, and even if you're watching replay, we're excited that you could join us today, all right? So leave us a comment. Tell us where you're joining in from. Let me say hello to a few people who are already live. Yeah, I see a comment. I see a comment saying, hi, Mrs. Bangwell. Thank you so much for joining tonight, but I can't see your name. So you have to click the link above the caption and give StreamYard permission to show me your name, all right? So there's a link, streamyard.com/Facebook, all right? So click on that link above if you're watching me on Facebook. All right, click on the link above and give StreamYard permission to to tell me who is talking. So right now he's just showing me Facebook user. Someone is saying hi, Sister Lee. Now, Sister Lee is not a regular name, so I understand this was someone that really knows me, but you still need to give StreamYard permission so that I can see your name. So let me send a shout out to my Instagram audience already. I have Favored B. Favored B is always one of the first people to join us most evenings. Welcome, sis. I have Anwa Collections. You're welcome. I have G-Zerbs. I have Chinwe Enigeno. These are the powers that be, all right? I have Hope Obu, and then who else is here? I have Shima. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for joining me tonight for this conversation. I'm seeing comments on the thread. Whether you're watching on Instagram, on YouTube, on Facebook, please leave me a comment. Let me know where you're joining me from, all right? Tell me in the comments where you're joining from. Hey, Mary Beth in the building. Good evening, sis. Happy to see you. Hey, thank you so much. I'm already seeing some hearts on Instagram. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Please let me know where you're joining in from. Yep, let me know where you're joining in from. Tonight is going to be a really exciting night. While you're doing that, let me start a watch party on my personal profile so that more people can watch, all right? I want to share this on my personal profile. It might get a bit noisy at some point, don't worry. I'm trying to share it on my personal profile on Facebook. So I'm getting requests of people who want to join the group right now. And the engineering is interesting. All right, so I think I've done that. I've started the video. So I'm seeing more people trying to join Parenting Champions group tonight. Fantastic. So I'm just going to leave that window open so that as I get notifications, I add people. So I have someone joining in from J-Town. J-Town is home for us, yeah? J-Town is home for my family, and welcome. Thank you for coming in all the way from Jos. So if you're watching replay, all you need to do is when you type your comment, just add replay, and I'll be able to know that you came on afterwards to catch up. So how's your week been? I'm so happy to be here. I've been like sitting on my hands, looking forward to tonight because it's the first time we're going to be hosting a debate night, and I'm hoping I can moderate it right so that it's something fun that we can always look forward to. So good evening, everyone. Once again, if you're joining in on Instagram, yep, I can see Shima says she's joining from Instagram. Yes. What about the city where you live in? What city are you joining us from? It's exciting to see this number of people. I'm seeing a lot of new names tonight on Instagram. In the last couple of weeks, our numbers have grown a little bit on Instagram. So there are new people who've just joined the family. I'm excited to welcome you. I'm excited to welcome you. I'm excited to welcome you. Thank you for making the time to be here. So I'm reading in the comments. I'm seeing Mary Beth is dancing. Yeah, tonight is going to be a great one. So I have another person saying hello, sis. Hey, sis. Most people that are commenting right now, and I can't see your names because you've not given StreamYard permission to show your name. So all you need to do is look at the caption. There's this particular sentence that says, I'm going live on StreamYard. It ends with a link. Please click that link. When you do, it will update and I'll be able to see your name. Thank you so much for joining tonight. Yeah, you can copy the link to this video, whether you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, on Instagram, and put it up right there on your WhatsApp status and get your friends and family to join. Hello, Jennifer. Good to have you here. Thank you so much. Someone just said, awesome job. Yeah. Thank you so much. It's an honor to be able to be here tonight. So I'm also trying to toggle now and open another window so that I can be seeing the comments, at least the people's names. Yeah, Shima is joining in from Abuja. Fantastic. Abuja in the house. Abuja in the house. Abuja in the house. Mary Beth is joining in from Abuja. We have a Jos. We have someone joining in from J-Town as well. Exciting to be right here tonight. So in the next couple of minutes, we're going to hit the ground running. We're going to hit the ground running very quickly, all right? So what am I looking for now? And I'm looking up for, okay, I'm not seeing the comments yet. Antonio Gunkomi, I can see your heart. Thank you for joining tonight. I appreciate you. All right, okay. So I have a quick message that I need to attend to. Let me see. All right, so just give me a moment. Okay, so my phone needs to update quickly. I'm not seeing that message yet, sis. All right. So Let's get on this. Ivy Obunde is in the building. Proud mom of a girl clan. Oh, mama, when you call me Sister Lee, I'm scared. Good evening, Mrs. Bankole. I'm happy to have you here tonight. I'm seeing my girl clan moms fully ready for these debates tonight. But trust me, it's not a girls versus boys conversation. We must never be tempted to buy that that's what it is. It is never that, all right? So welcome, welcome, welcome. So now I'm seeing people are ready for this. So whether you're on Instagram or on Facebook, the very first thing we're going to do tonight is let's look at the question that we're debating on tonight very carefully, and tell me your immediate response when you see the question. Is sex education designed more for girls than boys? So give me your immediate reaction, what you think. Just give me your immediate reaction. So what's going to happen is we'll be throwing out questions like that. You make a comment, we raise it up, we discuss, we rub minds like that. Hey, Clyde's Foundation in the building. Comfort, I'm so happy to have you join me here. I'm also saying Abim Shokweju, thank you so much for joining tonight as well. So that's how we're starting the debate tonight. First step, listen to the question very carefully and tell me what your immediate, don't overanalyze whatever is in your head. Whatever you think, you cannot be wrong is what you think. All right. So somebody has already started answering. All right. So the question is not who is getting more sex education. That one, even the blind can see. I'm going to come to that much later. But I want to, the question I'm asking is, do you think that the way sex education is designed, it is designed for more girls than boys? All right. Fantastic. Oh, tonight is already getting started. Remember, if you want me to see your name, you need to click the StreamYard link above. The StreamYard link above, and give me permission to see your name. So there's someone saying sex education is designed mostly for girls. All right. And then the next, Mrs. Bankole is saying, yes, more often it's designed for girls. And then Jennifer, I think it's designed for girls. Fantastic. So we have 3 people saying it's designed for girls. What these other people that are looking at us on Instagram and on Facebook, what do you think? The question is on face value. Do you normally think that sex education is designed more for girls than for boys? All right. So let's go. Do you think that sex education is designed more for girls than it is designed for boys? So let me know what you're hearing. What comes to your mind, top of your head. All right. All right. Let's go. Okay. So I'm seeing comments already. Thank you so much for sending in your comments and sharing what you think. This is what you think. You cannot be wrong, right? So I don't know what is happening here. Okay. Yeah. Sis, I'll come back to you. I saw your WhatsApp, so I'll get back to you right after the show. All right. So on face value, it looks like it's more for girls. Thank you. So I have Fun Arcade join us, like Fun Arcade, all right? On face value for girls, all right? On face value for girls. Now, the next layer of our debate tonight is, what makes you say it is designed for girls? What makes you say it is designed for girls, all right? What makes you say, when I hear it, is mostly designed for girls? All right? What makes you say so? Auntie Chinwe, darling. All right, what makes you think it is designed for girls? Yes, as soon as the question comes, yeah, it feels like sex education is designed for girls, right? So let's go. What makes you think it is designed for girls? Is it the way that the thing is being talked about? Okay, Mrs. Bankole is saying we're usually telling girls what to do to defend themselves. Yeah, I like that. That's an interesting one. So the sex education is always looking like what the girls should do to defend themselves. And you see, thoughts like this make people wonder, why don't we tell the boys also to behave so that the girls don't have to go about defending themselves all the time? Makes sense. So we're usually telling girls what to do to defend themselves. All right. Please, we need more comments in this. We need more comments. We need more comments. Let's keep the buzz. Let's keep the energy going. Why do you think that you said that from face value, excuse me, you think it's designed primarily for girls, or most of the time it's designed for girls? So I want to know what makes you think so. Okay, so someone on Instagram, Kleist Foundation, is saying because parents or teachers talk to girls more than they talk to boys. Feedback for all of us educators. Feedback for all of us parents. She's saying because we talk to girls more than we talk to boys. All right, fantastic. Beautiful, beautiful. All right. Mary Beth says because most often the emphasis is on pregnancy. So, and because it's the girl that actually gets pregnant. So that's the person we are most cautious about. And in so many cases, it is simply because parents don't want shame. Parents don't want shame. I think that one of the worst things that can happen to a parent of a girl is for her to end up pregnant. I mean, you're dealing with criticism within the family line, at church, you're dealing with all kinds of things in your neighborhood. So I think most of the time we just camp there and say, look, because I don't want her to get pregnant. So that's where the focus is. And because boys have nothing to be pregnant about, so we let them skip. So that's interesting feedback for all of us parents and teachers, especially for those of us that have the privilege to be raising boys. This is feedback for us. This is feedback for us. I have some hard stuff I'm going to say towards the end of the show, so stay with me. I'm going to say some really hard stuff to parents of boys. I'm going to say really hard stuff. So, but let's just keep rolling, because I agree with the fact that we always make it all about pregnancy. And when we make it all about pregnancy, there's nothing at stake for the boys. So we raise boys thinking there are no consequences for them. So there should be. We have to be proactive about making boys also see that there are consequences for their actions. I mean, too many men in the last decade have, too many men that had seen some level of success have been brought down by the choices they made as young people. Too many prominent men, some of them with such mixed emotions, that you're thinking about all the good they've done, and at the same time, you're interrupted by stories of what they did as young people. Welcome, Nomiska. Welcome, Pastor Heavy or PS Heavy. Welcome to Raising Girls Weekly. We do this every Friday night, 7 to 8 p.m. We just talk about raising 10 over 10 girls. Girls that are leaders, girls that see themselves the way God sees them, girls that are being raised to be everything that God designed for them to be. All right, so that's what we do every Friday night, 7 to 8 p.m. on Raising Girls Weekly. Tonight, we're having a very interesting conversation. So we've recently launched an interesting product for girls, biblical sex education for girls. It's called the Body Smart Girl Bundle. And so we have people saying, oh, again, we're talking to girls. Boys are being neglected. And so today we want to have the conversation about whether or not sex education is primarily directed at girls. What are the causes? Where are the gaps? So that as parents and educators, we can get back to our base and do what is right. All right. So that we can go back to our base and do what is right. Beautiful. Okay. So I'm not getting any more comments, so I want to move this up a little bit. All right. So someone says also international organizations such as the UNFPA designed intervention focused more on girls and women in terms of family planning. All right. So you see here, there's someone here who works with international organizations saying most of the solutions, even with international organizations, is for girls, because I think their goal is they're trying to reduce the number of children being raised in very interesting situations. It's detrimental to the health of teenage girls and even women who have many more children. The whole thing is always about women's health, all right? And so I guess what many of the interventions that we are seeing is directed at girls, all right? So what else? We need to move this up a little bit. So next thing I'm going to be saying is, so if you're a mom here and you're raising boys, you have one boy or two boys, indicate in the comment to say, I'm raising a boy. If you're a mom here and you're raising boys, please leave a comment, whether you're watching on Instagram or on Facebook. Leave a comment to say, I am raising boys. I want to see you. I want to see you say it. I'm raising boys. Because the next line is for us to talk about the how. If we're spending more time talking to girls, I want to hear from the people raising boys what's stopping them from talking to boys. Because I'm raising girls, so it has to be my primary constituency to focus on girls. So I want to hear from parents raising boys what is stop. Oh, Nomiska is saying she's raising boys. Fantastic, Nomiska. Thank you so much. Yes, you're raising boys. So Duchess Nolly is saying apparently so, because we also find most people believe that sex education is a girl's responsibility. Interesting to hear. I've not heard that perspective before, but I get your point. I think the whole thing is about a girl protecting herself and all of those kinds of stuff. Mary Beth is raising a boy. Fantastic. So we have two people online right now who are saying that they're raising boys. We have a third person saying I'm raising boys. Fantastic. So I want to see as many people as possible who are raising boys tell me I am raising a boy. Tell me if you're raising boys, let me know. Tell me that you're raising a boy. Leave a comment, drop it, Instagram, Facebook, everywhere. Duchess, you've raised a very interesting conversation here, which is that there is a belief that sex education is a girl's responsibility, meaning it is expected of girls to be responsible, but maybe not expected of boys. What I'm saying, is it in line with what you wrote? Is that what you intend to communicate? Please help me out. Help me out. Let me clarify what it is I'm reading. Oh, Shima, I mean, we have a good number of people raising boys tonight. Shima is raising a boy as well. So fantastic. Now I have 1, 2, 3, 4 people who've dropped a comment that they're raising boys. All right, so I have an interesting comment here coming from Instagram. Someone is saying, in as much as it is important to ensure that boys are very much included in the sex education talk, girls readily take in these teachings, and girls can stand firm more on issues of sex and sexuality. Fantastic, all right? Hey, Mrs. Bankole has brought a new perspective. Right now, I'm raising 25 boys. I'm raising 24 boys, yes. So, yes, Duchess is saying I was right, meaning that it's expected for the girl to be responsible for herself, but we are not expecting same thing from boys, all right? So she's saying, Mrs. Bankole reminded me that we are teachers, we're educators, right? So she's raising many boys. Even though we own girl clans at home, we have many boys we're raising. I happen to be the co-founder of the North Condenary Day School. So my day job involves raising 24 boys. So that's not a joke. And my boys don't joke with me. All right. Now we've established that some of us are raising boys. If you've ever spoken to your boy about purity, drop a comment and say, I speak to my boys about purity. I can leave a comment here. I speak to my boys about purity all the time. I speak to my boys about purity. I'm going to come to that thought that says that girls will take in these teachings easily, but boys will not. I'm coming to that line of thought. Makana Fabric Store, it's been a while I saw your name pop up on my live stream, but I'm excited to see you tonight. Happy New Year, sis. Happy New Year. So if you're raising boys and you have ever spoken to your boy about purity, leave a comment and say, I'm raising boys and I've spoken to them about purity. I've spoken to them about not having sex before marriage. I'm not talking about people raising boys and laughing about them being irresponsible. I'm not talking about that. Many of us do that. And one of the things I like in this kind of place, thank you, Chinwe. Chinwe is saying, I talk to my boys about purity. All right? All right? Okay? So I'm impressed to see that, Chinwe. I've been in different situations where little boys made passing comments at girls and their mothers giggled about it. In fact, one happened when I was much younger. And the family, because I grew up in Calabar, and the people who grow up in Calabar, if they really want to be honest with you, parents are not trying for boys. A boy sleeping around is trophy. It shows that he's hot. Part of why I brought this conversation to the fore is so that parents begin to take responsibility. You don't need a policy statement from government to educate your boys on sex. You don't need to come public and be saying that doing more for girls. If you're raising boys, sweetheart, I'm coming to your toddler. There's a toddler level sex education, and I'm going to give you a piece of it in a moment. You cannot wait for policy statement or UNFPA or non-profit or NGO or anybody to talk to your boys about sex and purity. And I'm careful about calling it purity. You don't need anybody's permission to have that conversation. So when people are talking to girls, you should just turn around and be talking to boys. Now, if you're raising a boy and a girl right now, I want to ask you, does talking to your girl stop you from talking to your boy? Rachel is saying, I'm raising boys and I'm speaking to them about purity. So for parents raising boys and girls, let me know in the comments if you have a problem talking to your boys and your girls. So Shima asks that her boy is a toddler. She's not sure if that's a conversation we should be having now. Depending on how old your son is, the first level sex education for boys is teaching them about consent from when they're really young. They shouldn't hug people without asking permission. Can I hold your hand? Can I hug you? For boys in particular. This is something that needs to be drummed for boys. Because boys grow up with another misconception. That misconception that says when a woman is saying no, what she's really saying is yes. So because you don't want him to have that problem in the future, from when he's young, level entry point, sex education for boys, age 2, 3, 4, is to start asking permission, knocking before they get into people's room. When they want to play with someone, can I hold your hand? Can I? Because socialization says boys can bulldoze. So you want to raise a boy with purity mindset, you have to teach him consent. Is the earliest part. Don't also forget that boys can be abused. So you're also talking to him about private body areas. Don't touch someone's private, and you too, don't allow someone touch yours. And very recently, in the last couple of years, the anus has been introduced as a private body area. It never used to come up before. When we're teaching sex education, it was always about vagina or the penis. But now there's an expansion to say, talk about the anus as well, because people are sick. All right? People are sick. So this is bringing me to the next level of this conversation, which is that on this live stream right now, we're having a family meeting for the next generation. We cannot afford to continue debating who gets what more. I have a different point of view about sex education. I don't think that either girls or boys are getting sex education at all. I don't think that boys or girls are getting sex education. None of them is. We have the don't get pregnant message, but we're not getting, the children are not getting sex education. I can bet that half of us listening to this right now didn't even get sex education when we're younger. What you hear is campaigns against teenage pregnancies, focusing on girls where condoms are given out to boys so that even if you have sex, the girls don't get pregnant or something. All right. Nomi Sky saying, I'm raising 2 boys and girls. The girls are 14 and 9, the boys 13 and 9. I talked to all of them about sex education. Honestly, it's not easy. I completely understand you, Nomi Sky. I like your honesty that sometimes you don't know what to say in this conversation. You don't know how to go about it. But I'm telling you tonight, everyone, we've not been giving sex education to children. Let me tell you what we've been doing. We've been running campaigns. When you start hearing a lot of gist about rape, you call your children and say, don't let anybody touch your private body area. If they touch you, scream, and you go. Then when it is, teenage pregnancy, there's a lot of rape. You now go and you start managing situations. I tell you, from my 13 years experience working with children and teenagers, there is no sex education for neither gender. There's no sex education for boys. There's no sex education for girls. In fact, sometimes the biggest thing we say is, don't shame me. And maybe I should even break down what sex education is. Sex education means that your children have the knowledge they have the skills and they have the conviction to make pure choices when it comes to sex. They have the knowledge, they have the skills, and they have the conviction. Knowledge means they know the biology. Skills means they know how to protect themselves. So for instance, if you're talking to your boys about sex, your boys should know what to do when they have an arousal. When they're aroused, what should they do? People keep passing on to the next generation that when men are erect, they cannot relax. They are not animals. They can. They can. If a boy was erect and the girl he wanted to sleep with turned into a mamba, will he still be erect? It means there is something that can interrupt that process. And you cannot wait for somebody outside children. You have to be the one telling them. So I stand here and I can say it anywhere in the world. Sex education is not happening for girls, neither is it happening for boys. What we have is campaign, fear-based campaign. When a gist starts trending. Now, for instance, that girl that was killed, Ijoma, parents are going to call their daughters through this business. Be careful, oh, be careful of the man you're going out with. If you see a man dating somebody, don't date her. That is not sex education. That is not sex education. Don't date him, I mean. That's not sex education. Sex education means that at different ages of my child, they know what they ought to do. Nomiska was just saying, I have a toddler. Not Nomiska. Shimma, I think. Shimma was just saying, First Couple MC, welcome. Shashali Apparel, welcome. Shimma was just saying she has a toddler that she's not sure she's supposed to. At a toddler level, I've told her about consent. Consent begins with, before I take somebody's pen, I take permission. Start teaching children to take permission before they use people's things, and before they touch somebody physically, they take permission. Because you're preparing them, that is a skill you're building them to become so used to it, so that by the time they are older, they don't rape girls. They don't say because I raped, because she was smiling somehow, it meant that she wanted it. I mean, I've listened to prominent people who are supposed to be leaders say when a woman is saying no, what she means is yes. We need to stop that. Yes, we need to teach women better communication skills where they actually say what they mean. But we also need to teach boys not to push the boundary to say, even if it's your wife, we need to stop educating boys like animals. We need to stop. So if you're not talking to your children, someone else is talking, and that person is talking all kinds of things. Very, very things that reduce men to nothing. Like all these principles that people say men are moved by sight. Don't do it to your boys. Let your boys be moved by vision. So you start from an early age and say, this is the kind of future I want for my daughter. This is the kind of future I want for my son. I want my son to be a virgin when he marries. I want him to think like this about women. I want him to behave like this about women. I want my son to be this discerning. I want my son to be this discerning about women. So I start out when he's 2. I start teaching him those values that will make him grow into that man. I teach him how to relate with girls. And I start teaching him about things happening in life that makes boys different from girls. And when puberty starts to kick in, I know how to have these conversations. As a caveat, if you're having sex education conversations in your home and your children are giggling, sex education is not happening. Because the whole idea is to normalize sex conversations to the point that children can talk about it over dinner. Do you understand? We have to have, yes, Mr. Malcolm is saying, oh yes, we need to stop educating boys like animals. Someone calls that tendency manimals. Only God knows why I don't have a son. But man, if I had a son, he would be a fine piece. It will be a masterpiece. Because in my brain, I know that God had so much great ideas for boys. But the lack of parents taking the position to nurture them makes them become raised by the ideas of careless men outside. Welcome, Mrs. Boziva. I enjoyed your granola this weekend. I have to send shout out to my constituency, you understand. If you want me to hail you, get into the comment section and tell me something that'll make me hail you. So she might still here. Len Better just joined us. Shasha Lake Apparel, Mariposita 323, Mrs. Boy and Zivas, welcome. So The point is, neither girls nor boys are getting sex education. None is getting sex education. If your children are giggling and talking about sex, they don't know jack about it. Because the way this sex conversation works, there's a talk, there's a consequence, there's a spirituality. So let me give you an instance. One of my goals was to make sure that my girls can talk about sex without anything. So sometime last week, one of my daughters was the only one who went to school. The other one was doing some treatment at home. So I went to pick her up, and we have conversations that are age appropriate. So the conversations I have with my number one, she's going to be 10 this year, that we don't have where number two is. So as I picked her up, she goes, Mom, let's talk about commercial sex workers. I said, all right, what happened? She said, it came up in class today. And, I'm just thinking, Mom, isn't that a crime? How can someone use their body for that? And then we start talking. I said, yeah, it's a crime. There are laws against it. And so she said, does it mean that when the police come, they pick them up? And she was sounding like they pick them up. What about the people they're with? Because sex can be logical. When you don't give accurate information, children are giggling over nonsense. She said, what about the men? I said, well, she said, do they collect the money from them? I said, I'm not sure they're supposed to collect the money from them, but I do think that many of them need an alternative means of livelihood. So I would, these are my thoughts. So we have these conversations logically. We should have these conversations logically. If your children are giggling up and down, they don't know jack. They will not be as excited about sex as they are if they had the real information about it. It is a socialization to pass on to the next generation that sex is animalistic. You can't control yourself. It comes, you do. Your children are taking a modeling after television shows. And what people that have hypersexual habits come to share on social media, because you're not talking. My goal is for my children to talk about sex anywhere. Satan is a very tricky guy. He wants it to be taboo topic so that you don't expand on it. Ignorance is bliss to the fool. Do you get my point? He wants you to make it taboo topic. Then he wants us to fight. He wants us to fight that we're talking to more boys and talking to more girls. We ought to put arm in arm and say, the mistakes that we made, we're not going to let our next generation make them. We're not supposed to argue about who is doing what more. So let me present something to you. We say we've been educating girls, right? Do you know that there's more consensual sex happening with teenage girls than rape? Have you sat down with teenage girls to hear why they have sex? Have you? You would cry. I've been mentoring children and teenagers for 13 years. The one that hurts me the most is very responsible parents who think that their children will pick on their value by automatically watching them. I was in Sunday school. I was a Sunday school teacher some years back, and I had this little girl in my class. She knew about D&Cs and abortions. I remember one Sunday school teacher saying that day that, what is it? This girl knows too much. I smiled. In my Body Smart bundle, in the parenting book I wrote, How to Talk with the Girls About Sex, I wrote that the world should not surprise your child. So your child should hear about abortions from you firsthand. Quack abortions, D&Cs, and all the medical stuff. You guys should talk about it as in get to know how life is. So that child was about 9, 10, and she was talking about that. They said somebody had a miscarriage or something. So she was asking, she asked in the Sunday school, that is it like a D&C? And I knew that girl made that call because in her home, it was a normalized conversation. It wasn't whispering. They could talk about it. You can argue about, isn't that too young? The world cannot give her any new information. That's the thing. When the world gives your child new information, first, the shock can get them to do something you would not believe that your baby could do. So you have to normalize that conversation. All right. I later on taught that child in teens arena, in teens church. Her head is on her shoulder. So I know it works. I know a time that particular child had a crush, and she stood in front of me, talked about the crush, scattered the emotion with her mouth. Because that's the thing about when they're having a crush. You don't run to save them. You allow them to talk it through. They talk it through and they talk off the emotions. And then after a while, they figure out it's not a big deal. But you have rules about crush. You don't realize that having crush is a normal emotional reaction. And your child has their first crush at age 6. Did you know that? You would know now, because at age 6, they're a bit naive. So they're telling you about the boy in class and the girl in class. It's a natural, it's something that God put in there because eventually women are going to be attracted to men and vice versa. So our work as parents is to nurture, create an environment where we can talk about how the responsible way to do this thing. And trust me, there's many documents coming out talking about all kinds of things. Rachel, thank you. Rachel is saying if we have the right knowledge about sex, we wouldn't have had the issues we're having today. So take it somewhere. Sex education is not happening for anyone, not for boys and not for girls. Rachel said very true. There's much more consensual sex among the Gen Zs than rape. It's just that when you talk to them and hear the reason why they're having sex, you won't believe it. You won't even believe that could cross somebody's mind. Think about this. Some girls are sleeping with a boy because he's been sleeping with some celebrity chicks in their network. So sleeping with him adds her to the lineup of celebrity girls. Isn't that shocking? Very sickening reasoning, just to be among their own A-listers. And I ask, where are their parents? Mommy, why are you not talking to her? Okay, you don't know what to do, no problem. I'm getting to that. Then it brings me to another part. Have you seen the statistics? So when we're younger, if you had sex with a boy when you were not supposed to, somehow, even if you were going to be shamed, it was going to be around church or neighborhood. It's not the same thing. They have the internet as a machine to destroy their image. So research is showing that there are more girls taking pictures of their nude selves and sharing with boys. You remember what I said sex education is? Knowledge and skills. Many of our daughters are not validated. They don't feel good about themselves, so they turn to boys to validate them. So they send nudes. And you tell me that we're educating girls. We're not educating any of them. So they send their nudes. The boys pass it on. And then one day when the girl wants to be somebody, they'll put it online. Everybody's not a Kim Kardashian that her video will leak and she'll still make it in life. In fact, the reason we know her is because she's one out of many. You don't want that to happen to your daughter, do you? You can't go around saying they should leave girls alone. Every time we're talking to girls, they should talk to boys. We're not talking to any of them anyway. We're not. But here's the part. I have a personal sentiment to even talking to girls. My mother had me when she was 19. I talked to someone about this yesterday. I don't even know how I manage to smile when I talk about these things. My mom had me when she was 19. She used to be on state scholarship. She played basketball and lawn tennis as a teenager. And you know, athlete girls can be a clinical point for boys. And so she gets pregnant, so sports is over for her. And then I'm born, and her parents say, no problem, you're going to go back to school, but this girl is going to be your responsibility. So you have my mom as a teenager, as the early 20s, working, going to school, taking care of a baby. She breezes through life, but she goes through life with the mindset that she's no longer the same person. Right now, as I'm talking to you, just 4 years ago, my mom looked me in the eye and said, I used to write when I was a child, a teenager. Do you know how old I am? I'm asking, why am I just knowing? And because I'm a person that I like people doing things with their hands, using their gift, in my head I'm saying, Mom, see, So why haven't you written a book? Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you do that? And I see how opportunities come and how sometimes she evades them. I see how she misunderstands people. I see how I look at her friends. I look at different things. This is a little bit personal. But when my mom was getting married to my stepdad, he had a daughter. I think I was 17 and his daughter was 18. But my mother thought he was doing her a favor. One day I had to tell her, say, Mommy, he frigging has a daughter that is 1 year older than me, but you somehow managed to still believe that he's doing you a favor. That's the world that we live in. When girls make mistakes, they pay for it far longer. Have you met girls that had PTSD, that signs after giving birth as teenagers? I've seen 2. In fact, the whole Nigeria watched one kill her baby, her 1 year and 4 months old child 2 years ago. And everybody was saying she doesn't have remorse. I said she's lost her mind. The way God organized for pregnancy to happen was soothing support of the man responsible, loving atmosphere. The woman is mentally stable knowing that there's support. Have you met married pregnant women who have uninvolved partners and seen the impact on it on them? They're married, let alone teenagers dealing with it on their own. Have you met them when they've lost their mind? Some have lost their mind forever till they died. That's why it's important for us to stop thinking that we're even doing anything for girls. While working on this project, I stumbled on information that says in Nigeria, 5,500 teenage girls die from pregnancy-related stuff, abortions included. Maternal mortality is higher among girls with teenage pregnancies. So when you hear that maternal mortality rate, a good number of it is teenage girls. So here's what I've discovered. We've been raising girls wrong. We've been raising girls and making boys the goalpost of their life. When you're telling her to wash plates, you tell her to wash plates so that she can take care of her husband. So we've made boys such a big deal that even your 8-year-old is matching a boy's surname to hers to see how it will look. We're not offering any sex education. We're not offering it to boys. We're not offering it to girls. I can assure you. Because the reality that both genders are in means that there's a failure in parenting, there's a failure in educators. But I'm going to stick with parents today. We need to stop arguing about who is getting what. None of them are getting anything. Actually, some of what you're telling the girls is dangerous for them. Telling the girls that men will always sleep around puts girls in a position to pick STDs because you give boys permission to sleep around, and guess who they're sleeping with? They're sleeping with girls and infecting them. So I was working on the 15-year-olds doodle book a few weeks ago, and it hit me to raise girls who honor themselves, that when a boy comes, let me give you a quick tip. When your girls hit 15, you're not supposed to be having conversation about whether they can date or when they can date. The conversation is who you should date. Give her power. When means when a boy asks me, a boy is asking me out now, you're not letting me to go. No. Let's list the kind of qualities that should be in a boy that can take you out for coffee. Not your age, qualities. So that when your girls come and say, Mommy, someone was talking to me today, he doesn't meet my list. Let's switch it up. Let girls have parameters. We've not been educating any of them. Many of us, many women I know, are in marriages that if they had sex education, they won't touch the marriage. They won't touch their partner with a 10-inch pole. Let's do it for the next generation. You know, when God started following me up early last year to start working on sex education, I was wondering, okay, why is this a big deal? And he was telling me, it is the foundation for humanity. It is from there that families spring forth. So how you educate your boys, how you educate your girls, eventually gives an insight to what their family setting should look like, from where they raise another generation of children. And so God is passionate about interrupting how we are doing this. Let me tell you, the sex education we used to give children that does not have Bible, that does not have Holy Spirit, that does not teach them how to control themselves, is no sex education. Without the Bible, there is no sex education. Because what God has taught me with my personal reality, I mean, I can look back at my teenage years. The times I was with the guys I shouldn't be with, there was no idea. I didn't know who I was. But when I got born again and started esteeming myself in the light of who God made me, there were guys that as they're talking to me, I'm like, what? You're not supposed to be here. Somebody put it out the other day, we need to educate boys. Yes, we need to educate boys, but we also need to educate girls on how they choose boys. Girls can induce change in boys. If they get to a generation and boys start hearing that she's not dating you because you didn't make her list, they're going to produce a movie for it, that girls have lists. Boys are going to be forced to reform. Did you ever think about it like that? So if parents are not doing their job, when we raise A-list girls, they will induce change on boys. I'm talking about girls that can look at a boy and say, if you touch me, I call the police on you. They will get the memo. But hopefully, your son is not one of the boys that girls need to call the police on. I know something, that every day, the biggest problem parents have, like Nomiska said earlier, is sometimes it's hard to offer this information. You don't know where to start from. You don't even know what to say. You don't know how to say it. That's why I took the time and said, let me design a bundle for you. If you're getting value from this live video, I want you to leave me a comment and say, I'm getting value. Even if you're watching replay, leave me a comment and say, I'm getting value, Irene. And it would be nice if you can tell me the value you're getting. Tell me something about what you're hearing tonight that is unique. You've not heard it before. Or it's insightful. It's helped you to see things differently. Leave me a comment, all right? I designed the Body Smart Girl bundle. What does Body Smart Girl mean? She knows how to take care of herself. She knows how to take care of herself. She's not trying to be the girl that boys want her to be. She knows who she is. She knows whose she is. She knows who built her. She knows who wired her. She also knows herself. I mean, there's a part I was writing and I said, I loved it. I loved it because at that point, one of the things I want to teach my girls is to know when they're vulnerable. If there's a guy that you feel strongly emotionally attached to, he's a guy you should never see when you're alone, because it is not in you to be able to resist him. So I'm one of the people that will teach my girls to walk away from crushes and not give themselves time to talk. Because when you start talking, when you have a crush, your logic is suspended. All right? Class is saying 101% value. I'm learning and grateful for this. Thanks, sis. Thanks, sis. That means a lot to me. Thank you. Kemi Joledu say I'm getting value. Shasha Alicia Apparel said I'm getting value. I want my girls to walk away. I want to be able to say, babe, someone's calling and say, Mommy, that's the red zone. I'm not ready to be logical with him. And they can say it at home and we can laugh about it. I give them power to take control because they know themselves enough to know when they're vulnerable to a guy. That's sex education. When your children have a crush, let them dial you. You're the 911 for when logic is suspended. Because logic will be suspended. Did you think about that? Value will be suspended. Do you get? Rachel is saying that yesterday she talked about the Valentine's Day and the need to love yourself first. You know, one of the things I want to teach my girls, I have this crazy idea about my girl, single, no boy that made their list, and they took themselves out on Valentine and they spoiled themselves without sulking. You feel me? I had girlfriends that were like that, crazy. God bless those girls. We used to be in House on the Rock, Calabar together. Man, these girls would take themselves out, like 3, 4 of them, sit down. And that's how I learned how to do it. Then I had this set of friends. We had a clique. I mean, if we wanted to go out, we didn't need boys to go out. We'll go. So as I wrap up, if you're listening to me and you would like to get the Body Smart Girl bundle, it's currently on pre-order. It's launching on Easter Monday. It's launching on Easter Monday because we're using the power of redemption to raise a generation that is not ruled by their emotions. So we're launching on Easter Monday, special to me, because it's a redemption message. It's help turning around and telling the next generation, you cannot be slaves to your emotions. You cannot be slaves to your hormones. I'm going to raise you to be everything that God designed for you to be. All right? We've not been getting this value because there's not enough education about it. So we've come to believe that there's a way it is. Oh, my friend is staying here. Oh, wow. I and my single friends are having a time out on Sunday. Bah, that's it. Because girls are capable of enjoying on their own. They don't need a boy to pick the bills. Because when girls begin to think that boys are ATM machines, they give them permission to ask them to sleep with them. That's why I would never understand how men are saying they have Stingy Men Association and girls are responding that they're going to close their legs. What's your leg? An ATM machine? Thank you, Rachel. Rachel is saying the emotional brain and the logical brain don't work together. One shuts down when the other is active. You need to teach your girls that. You need to teach your girls that. I'm telling you, ma, there is no sex education if your child does not see themselves the way God sees them. If your child does not know that there will be grace on the days, your boys need to know that they can see an attractive girl, but because of what God is trying to make out of their life, they don't need her. So they will know that if it is not happening within marriage, it's a demonic setup. I don't care what the world is saying. We have influencers on social media saying, you can't control yourself, you can't control yourself, you can't control yourself. Come on, get out of my face. Raise your boys to learn that if it is not happening within marriage, it is a demonic setup. You don't know the end to that journey. And we that are grown adults, we should be able to tell these children now, because you've seen, you know the moment when you were low, and you know where it led you to. It's a bottomless pit. And you know, pregnancy and STDs are the beginning of the matter. Do you understand? It's the beginning. So we can turn out, my sister, since our legs are not ATM machines, when men are saying that they're stingy men, they're not bringing money, you should be asking, were you running a business before? If I want money, I can create money. Because when I meet a man, I'm not meeting somebody who will pick my bills. I'm meeting a partner. We're both on divine assignment. We value each other. We value God in our lives. We value God's call, and we go together. And we create money together. We build a future. We create a home that God can be king in. Right? So what I'm trying to say is that with sex education, you raise girls. I mean, if you're a mother and you're raising boys, you do want a girl who will call the king out of your son, not the animal, not the one he can't think when he's around. So you need to start telling him, anybody that suspends your reasoning is a demonic arrangement. So Chinwe is telling me that she got a whole new concept about sex education today. So know when to walk away when you're vulnerable, because we're giving them realistic conversations. So right now, the Body Smart bundle, the Body Girl, hey, wahala. The Body Smart Girl bundle. By the way, I had to call it that name because Facebook will not approve my ads with the name sex education, right? So I have to call it something else that will make it easy for me to advertise and sell. This is my mess. This bundle, right, is like finding what God has called you to do for the next generation. And I'm not playing with it. All right? I'm not playing with it. So right now, I'm offering that bundle on a discount. If you buy it today, you get to buy it for 11,500. It's on pre-order. Launch date, like I said, is April 5th, Easter Monday, when Jesus died and gave us grace over our flesh, right? So that's the biggest thing. That's the biggest thing for me. Dominating flesh and letting your spirit roll, passing it on to children in sex education. That's the best thing we can give to them. They will need it for the rest of their lives, all right? And let me tell you, if you raise a child that can tame their hormones, especially their sexual urges, there is nothing they will not be able to accomplish. Because the main place where men, great men and great women fall, you would have helped them conquer it, whether the boys or girls. So if you're listening to me and you're interested in getting this bundle, get into my DM right now and tell me I want this bundle. If you want to do bank transfers, I can send you the bank detail. If you want to pay online, if you're watching from outside the US, outside Nigeria, in the US or in the UK, we've gotten quite some orders from that way. We can send you the link for the international market and how you're going to get it when it launches on the 5th of April. So all you need to do is just DM me. And guess what? I'm not going to give you a bundle and walk away, because I know this is warfare. So I've created a Telegram community already. Those watching me that have prayed that are already in the Telegram community. After the book launches, I'm going to design a 1-year plan. Have you ever seen somebody saying, read one book for 1 year? I know you're busy, but I just know that you have to read this book. This is going to be one book you don't buy and shelf. So when you buy it, we're going to develop a 1-year plan, 52 weeks of reading one book. We'll read each week, we'll meet, we'll debrief, we'll talk. We'll create a community where we can all talk. It's not just me coming to teach. As you're reading, how is it in your context, in your home? What is happening? What are the influences? You're picking areas that you need to make adjustment. When you're having the conversation, you tell me. When you get stuck, tell me. A mother was on me 2 days ago. Her daughter was watching a movie with her and heard someone say that they mistakenly fell pregnant. Uchechi, are you serious? I'm going to add you. I'm going to send you the link. Check your message. Check your Facebook message, Uchechi. I must have sent it to you. If I didn't, I'll send it, all right? Do you understand? A mother was on me that the 8-year-old heard about how someone fell pregnant and used the word mistakenly. So she's asking her mom, how does someone mistakenly fall pregnant? And so she's in my WhatsApp. Irene, what am I going to say now? And I would say, once children are exposed to content they're not supposed to, you give them a higher level of sex education. Because if it has crossed their mind, they're going to talk to someone if you don't talk. But that kind of conversation, you need to take her out of the house, a walk, and just talk it through. Talk it through, talk it through, talk it through. Once your child has crossed, maybe there's something a 7-year-old should not know, but they know. You have to double up and take it up. The whole idea is at each point in time, you're the Google, right? I'm the Google. My girls know. You talk to mommy. You don't Google sex ed. You have a question, don't get on Google. Just come to me. And I've told them why. And when you buy my bundle, I'll tell you how. You'll see how to tell them. So Chinwe is asking, is a bundle for children or for parents? It's a wrap. It has there's a book for parents, and there's a book for girls of different ages. So I have the parenting book, and then we have 5 doodle books. They're like coloring books, but they're talking about different aspects of sex and stuff in an age-appropriate way, but with games and coloring and stuff like that. So we have it for 5 age groups from age 3 to 15, broken into little groups. Then we have another thing in the bundle called conversation cards. So for the 3 to 5-year-olds, for instance, the flashcards has parents card, children's card. The children have the question card, the parents have the answer card. So you can give your children the question card and they ask you a question. Let's say they picked card 1 and ask you a question on card 1. You have answers on the parents card 1. That way you start having conversations. The reason we put the conversation card is to make sure that the conversation line opens so that your child begins to come to you for these kinds of conversation. So we have the book for parents, we have the doodle books for girls, then we have the conversation cards for both parents and girls. So it's a full bundle, and it's going for 11,500. It has 11 products in it. It means it's an average of 1K. And think about it, it's way more than that. I know that if we want to sell each product on one-on-one, it's about 25,000 naira. But we're doing pre-order, so it's going to be like this for the first 300 people. But I just know by April 5th, the price is going to go way up. So this is a good time to get it. So I'm going to support you through this journey because God is counting on us to redirect this generation that they're gay rights. Sexuality is getting more complicated for them. If your parents didn't say anything, you can't afford to not say anything. All right? You can't say, hello, abomination, my child cannot do that. You don't know that. Your work and responsibility is to provide them sex education biblically, all right? God's way. Give them knowledge, give them skills, give them conviction. Raise children who are convinced that purity is the path for them to take. You get the idea? Welcome, Kendra's Fresh. So finally, as I'm beginning to wrap this up, tell me something you learned from this session today. One sentence, something you took away from today. Just tell me. I want to read your comment. I want to see if this time I spent was worth it. And today I have the highest number of people I've ever had on a live show. I've had up to 11 eyeballs per time on Facebook and YouTube. And I'm saying, like, I've had up to 10 people on Instagram. I've never had that number before. So I feel really grateful and honored that you came out to be a part of this conversation. I know I'm one of Instagram and social media's best kept secret, but help me. Talk to someone about me. Talk to someone about raising girls. We have a call to raise the next generation of girls to be everything God designed for them to be. And every day you hear something that moves in the direction of purpose, you should embrace it and talk to everyone around as you can. And there's something I always say, don't buy this Body Smart Girl bundle for yourself alone. You know all the people that your daughter has a relationship with their children. Call everyone to buy the bundle, because your children will do the right thing when they have friends doing the right thing. So call everyone, your friends, family, church, neighbors. I said, look, there's a tool, so that even if there are times you want to collaborate and do an activity together, it's possible, all right? Your daughter will not survive being the only purity superstar in her generation. She needs to be in an army where purity is normalized. And God is counting on us, and I trust we can do this. All right, so tell me, what value did you get today? One sentence. Well, I'm seeing a lot of wow. All right, I'm seeing a lot of nice things. Rachel says she's seeing things in different perspectives. Yes, and someone posted that if they can control their sexual drive, they can accomplish anything. Yes, we've seen a lot of prominent people brought down by their sexual urges. All right, thank you, Nomiska. Thank you. We have to raise our girls to see themselves the way God sees them, 100%. Like royalty. Psalms chapter 144 verse 12 says that our daughters have been built like cornerstones for the palace. Do you know what a cornerstone is? It means that when they sit in the palace, they adorn it. All right. Kemi Joledo said what she learned today was that purity should be normalized. Yes. Not celebrated as a special thing, but normalized. I like that. So you just taught me something from there. Mrs. Bankole say, God bless you. I'm blessed. Mom, I'm sending you a warm hug. When your mentor is in the comment section talking to you and encouraging you, it's something special. And Mrs. Bankole is one of my very special mentors. Thank you so much, Mom, for always coming out for me. Thank you. So let me hear what you got. Nomiska said, I learned a lot today. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, sis Ziva. She said, absolutely awesome time. Thank you, sis. Thank you. Okay, Duchess said, gracias, Mom. Thank you, sis. So tell me, what did you learn? I'm wrapping this up in 3 minutes, so we leave at 8:15. I've had a good time hanging out with you. See, let me tell you, Jesus is real, and Jesus is the enabler for anything that we want to do. But the world wants you to think that there are 7 steps outside of Jesus. Nothing like that. He brings grace, he brings insight, and everything you've heard me today, and you'll go, oh, wow, because I get that feedback, oh, so deep, so insightful. It's 100% Jesus insight, 100% knowledge downloaded from heaven, right? So I can't take credit for it. And but it's an honor to be able to partner with God on this journey, right? So I feel good that I'm part of where God's action is happening. And I can tell you, God is really focused on our daughters and sons' purity for the next generation. We do know that we're really close to end time, right? So God is preparing them. They're the army of the end time. So don't let hormones deprive them of being at the center of God's will. All right. Thank you, Kemi Joledo. Somebody just called me pastor. Thank you so much, Auntie Kemi. I appreciate it. It was nice listening to you. Oh, Comfort, thank you. He said, this is transformational. My perspective has changed. Thank you so much, sis. I appreciate you. I appreciate you greatly. Thank you so much. Raise children with conviction, personal conviction, that even when you're not there, your son can tell the girl to get out of his class or get out of his office. Did you hear what I said? When a girl of low esteem and value comes to seduce your son, he should be man enough to tell her to get out, because he's a king, and the things that kings don't do. So you see, Irene doesn't have a bias about boys or girls, right? God has a call, and is depending on all of us to raise a generation that is pure. intentionally, so that they can honor God. I'm going to wrap this up here. I've had a good time hanging out with you. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube and you'd like to follow us on Instagram, all you need to do is look for raisinggirls.ng. Raisinggirls.ng. Hey, PSFZ, glad I joined in today. Thank you so much. And please tell someone about us. I'm going to share this. So there's going to be the links to this video in our Parenting Champions group on Facebook, on the Irene Bangwell page on Facebook, so you can reshare. I'm going to save it also on the IGTV, so you can tag friends and loved ones. And remember, you should get the Body Smart Girl bundle and raise your girl to be everything that God intended for her to be. Good night. God bless you. See you next week. We're coming back next week, Friday. When I post the live video, tell me what you'd like me to talk about next week, and we're going to bring it on. All right. Thank you so much for hanging out with me tonight. God bless you big time. Mwah. All right. My daughter